We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Nick Barris, along with Metro Nashville Vice Mayor Jim Schulman, joining us this morning after a very busy weekend in the city dealing with the coronavirus issue. And we're streaming live on Facebook at newschannel5.com and News Channel 5 Plus. You know, what we talk about here in some of the calls, everyone's serious. It can be gloom and doom. And like I said, don't panic and all this. If there is some upside, there's a couple things that developed over the weekend. As you see in places like South Korea and China, where this all began, they have shown radical improvement. What they've done and what we're doing now works. And it's getting better there, and it's stemming the tide. On top of that, we know we're coming about to a warmer time of year where indications are if this mimics some other flu-type viruses, it will not do as well in warmer temperatures. And also, today, trials begin with a vaccine. Now, that's early, may still be a year before a vaccine. Next year at this time, when we're taking our flu shots for the flu season, may include a vaccine for, COVID-19.
That's right.
So there is positive things. We see some of these countries, especially China, doing better now. It works. What we're talking about works and will lower the load, is the way I look at it.
Well, a lot of this stuff, by everybody panicking, it causes everybody else to panic.
Sure.
So we're just looking at the market. That's plunged again.
Do not check your 401k.
But you know what?
But don't panic and pull out either. It's down.
We went through that great recession.
Oh, yeah.
So what happens on the other side of this thing? All of a sudden, people have been locked down. They're going to want to travel. When we get the all clear sign, we're all going to go back out.
The economy will boom again. And that's why now, if anything, instead of selling, buy low. And when we come out of this, it's going to be a boom economy.
Right. So the economy was very, very strong. This thing hit, we have to kind of slow down. I think we were talking before that, I don't think I mentioned it, was like, sometimes when things get so hectic in everybody's lives, you're going like, I just wish everything would just stop for a second.
Right.
And, so you can catch up. This allows you to catch up.
Maybe to catch up. Yeah. Let's go to Vicki, I believe we have next. Good morning, Vicki.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good. Go ahead, ma'am.
I know you're not no doctor. I wanted to know how long will this last? Will it last for 3 months or a year?
Yeah. We don't really know how long this lasts. That's actually Vicki Hambrick, okay? And she is the mother of Daniel Hambrick in the Andrew Delkey trial. And I know she and others, that's a high-profile case that's scheduled to go to trial in June. There are many other cases going on as well. Yesterday, I was talking to a judge about what's going to happen with Metro courts and the legal system and jury selection. And that's going to slow. I think everything is going to be bumped back.
Supreme Court has shut the...
they shut it down except for certain things like warrants, orders of protection, things like that. But in terms of trials, they're not happening right now.
Right. So that's for everybody's
So what happens? I know, but if you're some person that's innocent till proven guilty, locked up waiting for trial, you're going to have to wait a little longer.
So the question about that was how do you move along with that? And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, again, this is they're trying to deal with an immediate situation, and all this stuff is done to try to stem the spread of this thing,
right? Which
is exactly the right thing you do. If we've learned anything, I mean, I wish this had never happened, but we have experiences from China, from South Korea. Now we've got it from Europe. To watch how it flows, to watch that spread, to try to figure out what steps we can do to try to end this as quickly as possible, or at least stop the spread of it and try to flatten out that curve in terms of medical use. We learn. We do this. How long is this going to last? I don't know. I mean, you're looking at China right now, and they're opening things back up. So what's it been, 4 or 5 months?
Right.
How long is the last year? I don't know. Does it go away during the summer? We're at the towards the end of March. Okay, so temperatures at the end of this week are supposed to be in the 70s. I'd like them to be in the 90s now. It's like you want to see how fast we can get to that summer. Now that doesn't mean that it ends.
Right.
I mean, that's just the thing. They don't know.
Yeah, this may be different. So real quickly, with regard to again Metro Council and business as usual. Tomorrow, you guys, have that meeting, and you have these issues you have to address. So will you all be in the room together?
We'll all be in the room together. Now, after this, like I said, we're going to go back and look at this again. I think it is important that people have a chance to hear from people on the ground about what's going on, the latest update. Again, these doctors are very professional and very calming. Dr. Schaffner, when I heard him the other day at the mayor's press conference, it's like he looks like your old family doctor that would come visit you in your home. Yeah, he's the one who basically told you what you needed to know and then said, hey, but life goes on. Let's live life, but be careful. You leave with calming sensation. So I think that's important. The business of government has to continue, but in a very careful, sustained way where we use common sense principles. So all in the room together. So we have 40 members. We just happen to have a big council. We've asked the public not to come. They can watch on Channel 3. We had one bill on public hearing, which meant people could come talk about it. That's been deferred. We've moved everything off of public comment, so there's no necessary need for the public to come because they're not going to be allowed to talk. They're just coming to come. So really, we can't necessarily shut them down, but we really don't want them to come in this case. That's a horrible thing for a government official to say, but we're trying to protect them as well. The membership, we have 40 desks. We can have them spread out. You can have them every other seat. You can put some back in the chamber. We're moving through this very, very quickly. We've already been through the calendar once. We'll defer all unnecessary items. And the things that we have to pass, we'll pass, and then we'll get out of there.
And as far as with regard to any new steps that are taken, we saw what the mayor's going to do with regard to bars and restaurants. We know schools right now are closed. Universities. We know there's no concerts. There's no Predators right now. Is there any place else we can go to have recommendations for things to be eliminated? I mean, you could say no restaurants open at all, but I don't think that's an answer, and I don't think that would help. We can still go and carry out. And I ate at a restaurant yesterday afternoon. I had no problems with it. It was not real full, but I ate in with my family, and I had no qualms about that whatsoever.
All right. So let me change the question just a little bit. Yeah, you want to be careful.
What else can they take away from us?
Well, but what can they bring back to us?
Okay.
So that's what I would want to say is, so if you're watching the news, and when I came over here, I had watched you all. There's a person on Broadway, because they're shut down, who is inviting young musicians to send her video clips. Laura Battanti, I think is her name. And so people are sending in video clips. So other people are doing unique things. We are an innovative society, all right? So if we're shut down, how do we start bringing it? So this is going to be a whole new thing. So, if you're stuck in the house, do a puzzle, take a course online, you can get books online, you can do all these different things that maybe you've always wanted to do. And then people are going to start picking up on ways to be creative and keep you engaged, and this is going to be kind of a new experience for us.
I think you're right. Innovation's the key. It was interesting this morning on the CBS Morning News. They had clips from Italy and Rome. There was one shot of the Pope himself walking through just an empty Roman street. And Italy, of course, is the hardest hit, and they've had a horrible number of deaths. But they showed, did you see the video of the folks opening up their windows and singing to one another? Not going out, but singing, and they were doing, some of their famous songs and opera and all of that. And it was kind of inspiring, and they were belting it out.
It was great.
And so,
I would not recommend that I do that because that might be a whole nother some type of panic because people do not want to hear me sing.
Well, and a little bit of humor along the way helps as well. Jim, we're not going to shake hands to wrap things up, but listen, I really appreciate you coming on. And if you would, when there's a possibility, even if you could come on next week or whenever you can, when you have time, having you on, because I know you are in there with everyone else, really is a great service. And we had a lot of followers on Facebook and the Plus today, so I appreciate you coming on.
Sure thing.
Stay safe. We'll talk to you again soon. Take a break, and I'll have a programming note about tomorrow right after this.